and I put them excellent. I started my career in L&T in press shop and bakelite molding shops in September 1963 under Mr. Kaushik. And there I retired. There I worked till I retired. Now during this 34 years tenure in L&T, I had several bosses, including Mr. Vivek. But today I want to talk about late Mr. Kaushik, under whom I worked for the longest period. And I want to talk about him not necessarily because of that reason. About a year and a half after I joined him, he one day called me and handed over a book and he said, "Bhai, you must read it." It was not a suggestion, it was more of a command. The name of the book was Managerial Grid. Now after 40 years, I am not able to recollect many details about that book. But what I vaguely remember is the 0 to 9-point scale grid it talks about. On the one axis of that grid is the manager's concern for work, and on the other axis it is manager's concern for his people. This book is by, if I am not mistaken, Jane Mutter and Robert Gray, one of the most famous books on this subject. After studying that book, I realized the reason why Mr. Kaushik wanted me to read that book. If any manager, if he is rational, sincere, and wants to improve himself on these two counts, he can place himself at the appropriate place and point on the grid. And then the book talks about the various attributes of these managers. Their way of functioning, how they treat the people, how do they show their concern for the work, and so on and so on and so forth. And then, more as a habit, I started various managers whom I had opportunity to study on that grid. And then, at the end of it, I realized that it was Mr. Kaushik who had the highest concern and for work as well as for his people. Now, I would like to narrate a couple of instances to substantiate why I felt so. When I say this, I don't mean offend to any other managers, but only I want to highlight Mr. Kaushik's unique abilities. Somewhere in 1975, there was one supervisor in the assembly shop, a young 26-year-old Kerala, newly married to a Bengali girl, which was resented by his parents very, very strongly. So much so that they broke all their relations with this boy. One day while coming to work, some four-wheeler knocked him over. Those days, they were not wearing helmet while driving scooters or motorcycles. That road was frequented by many alien drivers, so somebody located it, found him lying there, brought him to Hawaii. He was then taken to Arogyadam, a hospital at Juhu, where he was lying unconscious for the next 3 days. His parents were informed, who didn't respond. His wife's parents were in Delhi, they were called. They came, and these three people, his wife, his wife's parents, were in this hospital for the next 3 days. where Mr. Kaushikar and Mrs. Kaushikar 3 times in a day carried their breakfast, lunch and dinner in a huge tiffin carrier physically. This is not hearsay that I have heard of it. This is what I have physically seen myself. On the third day, he expired. Mr. Kaushikar helped him to find an establishment in Mumbai. She was sent to Delhi along with her parents, and within 15 days she was placed in Delhi regional office. Now, those of you who had opportunities to avail Kausori holiday home must have got your booking done through her, because that was one of her assignments. There was a guy called Mohari in assembly, where Mr. Mehta was. This guy, along with a colleague and a quality control person, went to Pune on a hired car for official role. On the way, the car met with an accident. His colleague survived, the other 3 persons expired on the spot, the driver and his 2 LLB engineers. And on the 3rd day, Mr. Kaushikar called me and asked me whether I had heard about this incident. And I said yes. He told me further about details about this person. He said, Mr. Mohari is the son of a postmaster. He had 2 sisters, elder sisters. For getting them married, Mohari had spent, senior Mohari, postmaster, had spent all his savings. And for educating his son, he had taken loan. And for his post-retirement life, he was simply dependent on his young son. He had a wife and a small kid. And he said, this person, the wife, cannot be accommodated in LLB. I was surprised. I said, in the TPS, under materials department, those days Shiru's department was reporting. So I told him, in that department there must be ample work for a science graduate. Thereafter that he just asked me to leave, and on the 13th day of that incident, that girl had been appointed in DPS. What I am trying to convey is the kind of concern he had for his people. Now, the other person who had similar kind of concern for people was Mr. Khanolkar. Though I don't know many details about him, but I know the kind of help that he provided to his own people and also many of his friends and colleagues. I thought, since everybody has talked on various other subjects, I will just talk about my ex-boss, whose concern for people of such a high order. And I was working in the ring for such a long period. I was extremely proud. Thank you.